It's hard to think of a question more prominent in the MLS right now than what the hell happened to the Chicago Fire since the midpoint of the season and the All-Star break. A team that has the quality of players such as David Accam, Bastian Schweinsteiger, Nemanja Nikolic, Dax McCarty, like this team is stacked. On paper, this team is absolutely incredible. And they showed that for the first half of the season. They were the hottest team in the MLS up until the All-Star break and going into the All-Star break. But then just something happened. Their last 8-game stretch is definitely the worst stretch that they've had this season. And it started on July 22nd at NYCFC. When, if any of you guys remember, NYC was down to 10 men in the 10th minute. And yet they still found a way to win 2-1 at home, which is ridiculous. And then they go on to lose to Sporting Kansas City. They beat the Revolution, but that's going to be the only win that they had in these 7 games. They lose to Columbus 3-1. They lose to Montreal 3-0. And they lose to Toronto and Minnesota. They lost to Minnesota at home 2-1. This was the first road win in Minnesota United history, and it happened at a team that had Bastian Schweinsteiger and Dax McCarty. And that to me is absolutely absurd. And the rest of their schedule doesn't look too easy either. They have games against the Red Bulls, they have games against NYCFC, and then they also have a game against Montreal next week, which are not going to be easy games to win. This team, if they want to make the playoffs, which is insane, they might not make the playoffs after starting out so well. But if they want to make the playoff, they have to win at least 3 games of at these next 8, right? I mean, if they want to guarantee a playoff spot, they have to get to at least 47, 48 points. And I think they will. Don't get me wrong. I think they will make it to the playoffs. The question is if they're going to be a real threat in the East. Now that I cannot answer for certain, because there is a legitimate shot that these guys get knocked out in the first round by Montreal if they face them as a 3-6 seed. There is a legitimate shot that this team gets knocked out by whatever 6 seed there is, or if they match up against someone better, I don't see them winning. They're not going to beat a Red Bulls in an aggregate series. They're not. They're not going to beat an NYCFC in an aggregate series. They're definitely not going to beat Toronto. I mean, right now, if I'm looking at this team, it's the 5th best team in the East. Right now, they might not even be a playoff team in the East, based on how they're playing. And it's such a drastic change from how they were playing at the beginning of the season, and they need to get back to that winning style of football. And the issue for me, at least the biggest issue right now for them, is their defense. In their last 7 games, they've let up 3 goals 5 times. You are not a threat in the East if you're letting up 3 goals consistently. Not even consistently, most of the time. This is a legitimate issue, and I don't even know if this is Lamson's fault. I think that this is definitely a combination of the defense and the lack of communication between the defense and the attack. Because the amount of times that I'm watching Chicago Fire games and then they're not able to bring the ball up, the issues in the back are leading to goals. You don't have Brandon Vincent, that's true. He's injured. But that's not enough. This team should be letting up less goals than this. This is pathetic. And you should not be allowing 2 goals against Minnesota at home. At Toyota Park, where you've been so good all season. Bottom line is this. Do I see them making the playoffs? Yes. I have to be honest, I see this team making the playoffs single-handedly on the back of Bastian Schweinsteiger, Dax McCarty, and then Nemanja Nikolic. I believe that Juninho is a good player. I don't believe he contributes to this team as much as Dax McCarty does. Dax McCarty, for me, in the first half of the season, might have been the MVP. Now I think Villa's run away with it since. But Dax McCarty is an incredible player, and he's changed Chicago, and he's the reason why they're even in the playoff hunt this year. Do I think they're a threat in the East? I don't know. I haven't seen enough. I think they might have hit their high way too early on in the season. If they do squeak into the playoffs with a little bit of a hot streak behind them, this is a team to watch. This team on any given day could beat any other team in the MLS, and that's a certain. With Schweinsteiger and the quality of talent that they have, it's 100% possible. But I don't think that they'll beat Toronto, New York City, New York Red Bulls, Atlanta. I think they'll beat the Crew. If they get the Crew in the first round, I think they beat the Crew. But on other than them, and definitely Montreal, I don't think they beat Montreal in an aggregate series. I don't think they beat most of the other teams in the East that are in the playoff hunt. I really don't. I hope Chicago makes a run. I hope that they're exciting, and I hope Schweinsteiger lives up to the hype, and he has so far, but I hope he does more because I like him as a player. I think he's fantastic. I think he's done a lot of good things for the soccer inside of Chicago. But man, I need to see better things from this team immediately. But regardless of whether or not Chicago makes it to the playoffs, I want to thank you guys for watching the video today. I'm going on 6 minutes, but there's so much to talk about with this Chicago team. It's ridiculous. They're a very good organization in the last couple of years. I like the signings that they made and how they changed the franchise around from what they've been before. But man, they got steps to go. But they might do it. So thanks for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. More MLS content on the way. Have a good one. Peace.